Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode number 99. My name is Craig Prowse. This is Mandrew Montemayor. And Andrew, we are on the threshold of hitting triple digits. How do you feel?
I feel like it's time to call it now. It's been a nice trip. They'll never beat... next episode, we'll do 99 and a half, and we'll never make it to 100.
We'll just pull the Dragon Ball Z repeat and start the season over at episode 1. It has been a journey, man, so... I'm really looking forward to our next episode together, though. That's going to be probably the biggest milestone we've done in a... What do you like better? Hitting a bigger subscriber base or knowing that the show is still moving and we're at 100 and we're going to keep going from there?
I think the subscriber base, because I mean, honestly,
as much
as I enjoy doing the show, I guess it would kind of suck to hit episode 100 and have like one subscriber for every video I have.
Nice. Yeah, I feel the same way. So appreciate you guys, and again, next week will be our 100th episode, and we do plan on doing something special. But before we move on, guys, take a minute to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And if you can, if you're hearing this right now, jump down and leave a comment. That's one of my favorite parts, is seeing who's writing us and who's got something to say. So if you guys are listening to it, jump down there, leave a comment. Follow us on all the social medias that you guys see popping up right here. You know, check us out on Instagram. We try to post daily. Check us out on Twitter. Again, we try to post as often as we can. And if you guys are listening to the audio only version of this podcast, whether that's on Spotify or iTunes, if you like the show, do us a favor and leave us a kind review, because it helps Andrew and I reach a broader audience, because that's really, the goal. Hit 100 and just keep that fan base growing, baby.
Yeah, the bigger we get, the more we can do and give back to you.
So I want to start with, because I think I skipped it with the likes and subscribe, but we're doing the drink of the week. Now, this drink, if you guys ever want to recommend something else for drink during the show, just jump in the comments and leave that. But this one was recommended by Pat Carter. And he wrote us earlier on the last episode, and he says, Craig, yo man, you probably already tried them, but Elysian has a killer selections, and then Rogue Beer is like the holy grail in Oregon. I looked around for Rogue Beer. I didn't see it. Andrew and I think we've had an Elysian flavored beer before.
Just did one just recently. I think it's called Mind Haze is what it's called. Because I know that I think I picked it up myself. I remember it being good. I think the can is like a purple or a blue color, and I think there might even be a skull or like a sugar skull or something like that on the front.
Okay.
I'm 90% sure it's called Mind Haze.
I like it, because this one is the Contact Haze that I was able to find.
Really good.
Yeah, really, really good. It's at a 6% alcohol. It's categorized as a New England IPA, and it's brewed from the Elysian Brewing Company. It's got like a hoppy aroma. It's another IPA, so I was nervous when I started smelling it. I'm like, okay, let's see what the damage is going to be here. But it's got like a really kind of light bitterness taste to it. But I mean, completely smooth. This is the reason why. this is a good IPA.
I wonder if all these have like a little story or something like that. Because on this one, it's got kind of like a weird guy's head and his like brains being like peeled open or something on the side. But it says right here, Contact Haze, Hazy IPA. The day the world stood still, an Elysian brewed and a hazy IPA rules were broken to bring you Contact Haze. A tingled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma. Bursts of bright raspberry, currant, citrus, guava, and passion fruit with a slight floral note. We'll have to check it out. I wonder if each of those have something like that, like a little story or something on the side. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the one thing I like is a good piece of history with my beer. So if you guys are drinking along at home, drink along with us. And again, if you want to recommend something for us to drink, leave it in the comments down below. And again, Pat, thank you for the recommendation.
Definitely a good recommendation, because this one is good.
Yeah, it's fantastico. So we like to do a segment before we get started into the main story of what are you up to. This is a chance where Andrew and I take a second to tell you guys what we've been playing, what we've been watching, any trips we have coming up at all, and things like that. If you guys ever want to tell us what you're up to, leave that in the comment. But Andrew, what are you up to?
I have actually just finished vacation. I took a few days off, so I took like a week.
A well-earned rest.
Took a week off of work so that way I could just sit around, play games, do nothing. I just finished Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which, I mean, has been like long overdue forever, but whatever. It took forever to watch that.
Good shit though, right?
I really liked it. I feel like there's a lot that could still be cut out, especially anything involving like Lois Lane, because I kind of just like really hate her for some reason. But like a lot of the stuff, and I think the ending was a lot better too with the way that they redid it. And spoilers for those of you who have not seen it, I like the idea of this as maybe, hopefully, setting up for the Flash movie. The rumors, the Flashpoint paradox, I could see how this could take effect to maybe kind of reboot the DC and get it going in the direction it needs to. Because I other than that, I don't know where they would really go next, but I think that makes a lot of sense. So that would be cool. I actually watched Ford v Ferrari because clips have been showing up on my YouTube like a lot lately, and I watched them and it looked really interesting. And I'm not like super crazy into cars, but it was a crazy good movie, really good Christian Bale, Matt Damon movie. So I highly recommend it. It's on HBO Max.
I've been wanting to watch that, so now that you like it, I know Gino said you fucking loved it. So
yeah, I loved it.
I'm gonna look forward to that.
I think I'll definitely watch it again. I want to watch it again. Like, it was a really good ass movie. Been playing Yakuza 5. I'm about halfway through it on my Yakuza quest, and then started the Ascent, which just dropped.
It did just drop. Andrew and I are both playing this at the same time, so this will be a small segue into what he's been gaming to what I've been gaming. I'll tell you what I've been watching. But this is a game that just dropped on July 29th, and it's developed by the Swedish company Neon Giant, and it is this kind of isometric twin-stick action RPG cyberpunk game. So you've been playing it first. I think I'm a little further than you, so you don't need to tell me your initial thoughts of it, and then I'll get into my thoughts about it.
It's a beautiful game. I actually love the concept that it's almost kind of like Diablo, except for it's like a shooter, because I'm kind of like a little bit more interested in it. I do have a couple slight problems with it. So I'll start with some of the good though. I like that it is a beautiful looking game. Like, it does look really good. Like, it definitely nails that cyberpunk, like that aesthetic, that feel to it. And I also like to, a part of the negative later on is something to do with like the map. It's confusing. But what I do like is that I don't end up using that. If you push up on the D-pad, there's like this simple kind of little arrow thing that shows you right where to go. I'm not left in one of those top-down games where it's just like, all right, figure it out. Here's like a vague fucking hint, or here's like a little blip, but the map's like a maze, so you can't figure out. You're just experimenting with which way to go and whatnot and everything. So it's been really good, really fun so far. Like, I like the movement, I like the idea of it. I'm about an hour or so in, so I've only beaten my first boss, so I'm not crazy far, but so far I'm really digging it. I think kind of maybe my biggest harp that I have on it, besides the map, like, it's kind of hard to read. I can't really figure out what goes where, so that kind of deters from, do I want to explore over here because I know it ends in like 5 to 10 feet, or once I start walking I'm like, fuck, this is too far, I don't want to go off the beaten path, I want to do whatever first. But there's a lot of hold B at the beginning, because there's lots of tutorials, lots of things you have to read, and when you're done, you gotta hold B, not just push B to dismiss whatever. You gotta sit there and hold it. And so I kind of feel like, that's just kind of taking forever. And this next part is just spoiled, so it really is kind of a gripe. The loading, it doesn't take that long to load. It literally takes like 10 seconds, maybe 15, so long as I've waited. But since I've been playing so many other games with no fucking loading at all, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, God, this sucks.
Yeah, that elevator ride when you go see the bosses was like, I'm like, why am I waiting for this? Like, why is this taking more than 2 seconds? And the other thing is, you notice it doesn't quick resume? Like, it's a game that when I'm playing it, like, every time I exit out, I had to come
for something that is a launch exclusive, you figure it would have whatever the biggest Xbox feature is, arguably the quick resume.
Yeah, and there's nothing in its gameplay design that makes me think why it wouldn't. Actually, no, I guess I'm misquoting here, because the game is a multiplayer game. You can play it online with people, but you can also play it solo, so I like that it can do that. It's kind of like how Outriders was.
I only played by myself so far.
Yeah, so far I've been playing it single player. I texted Gino the other day, and I'm like, hey, this will be our next 2-player game.
Cool, I'm glad it was me.
But since you said we're going to start playing it, I was like, okay, I'm going to start playing it as well. Well, we can all jump in a party, but I was telling Gino this was the next group, because I think it's 3 players that you can get into a group with. But from what I've been reading online...
do it then.
Yeah, we can definitely. I think he gets back tomorrow. So what I've been hearing or reading is, when you play it on multiplayer, though, that is where the biggest glitches and bugs are happening. A lot of people are reporting that they're running into boss fights that aren't spawning bosses. They're running into like bug bug breaking things that are like it won't let him continue. But everything I've read on solo play is that there's no issue. At least 99% there's no issue.
So far, I haven't had any problems.
I would almost say keep playing solo, and then maybe in like a week or two, see if anything changes, and we can try dabbling in the multiplayer. But my likes are the same as Andrew's. Graphically, it looks fantastic. The gameplay is surprisingly like tight. I mean, it's kind of re-quoting what other people are saying, like it's the Diablo, but like the twin stick shooter, but like
it's like a mixture of Diablo and Smash.
Yeah, but there's no other way to like say it because it is just that good and that tight. And the cyberpunk aesthetics is really, really cool. The dislikes, like Andrew's saying, is the map. The map is atrocious to me. Like it's this weird kind of blip radar in your whether it's on the top right or wherever it's at, that like really does nothing for you. Everything in the map is so faint and so small that like you can't really see anything. So when you hit the D-pad, it takes you to kind of like the world map, and you can kind of see where you're going. But like I don't want to keep doing that. I don't know why their map isn't a little bit different in terms of navigation, but I do like what Andrew's saying. When you hit the up button, it'll guide you, and it's not an obnoxious guide. It's not like a gold bar that stays there for a minute. It's a quick like red burst that just kind of points in that direction. So if you do want to explore, you can, and you're not kind of held back from it, or at least it doesn't take away from it.
Yeah, I like that it does that because it doesn't make like the AI all cluttered, or where you have like this stupid path that'll stay there for 10 minutes, and so it's like, all right, that's kind of taking me out of it. It's just quick and simple. Like it's nice, clean design. Yeah, and I would say the other thing, and this is just kind of a gripe more than a dislike, is there's really a lack of customization in terms of like your look. Yeah. Like when you went to go make your faces, it's like every face design, every shirt design, it has like six designs, and then it's like infinite amount of colors. So did you go with a guy? Yeah, I always do, and I know you always do. So when you're trying to make a unique character, it really isn't the same as like a Cyberpunk 2077 in terms of your look, which kind of sucks because this is a game where you can clearly see your character. You know what I mean? When you add on the armor and all that stuff, you can see every bit of it. So I don't know why they didn't add a little bit more customization, because you can toggle off your headgear so your face is completely seeable the whole time. I'm glad that you brought that up, because on that topic, the one thing they do have plenty of, though, is colors that you can go through to customize. I was going to say 1,000 colors. That's the 6 options. One thing. There's a shit ton of colors in there, and I like that instead of like pink, it's like electric salmon, emerald green, or whatever. Yeah. It's like all these like crazy fucking out there names that I thought were like hilarious. Yeah, so. The hairs are like, it's like bald, dreads, mohawk, and like that's and then pull over. I'm like, where's just like a basic like regular hair? Yeah, for the chick, that's what it was. It was bald, mohawk, dreads was shaved, full head of dreads, short ponytail or long ponytail. Yeah, ponytail. It's like that was it. So I would say the game's getting about average reviews. I think it's hedging somewhere around like the 7 view. I would say that's probably where I'm at right now. I'm only level like 9, so I'm not that far into it. But, to paraphrase a good Commissioner Gordon, I would say this is not the Cyberpunk game we deserved, but the Cyberpunk game we needed, because for a lot of people this isn't the game that is going to crash on them. This is a game that's moving forward, and as all the mechanics that it's borrowing, it still feels kind of new. So I think it was the right time for this game. I think it's a great game to have on the Game Pass, and for sure. And it's another good multiplayer game that you can play with somebody for free if everyone has the Game Pass. So solid stuff, and I'm hope by maybe next week or so one of us will have it done, and then we can kind of talk a little more open about it. It's not going to be me. That'll be you. Because you're going to do more Yakuza? This will be the off game? I got to. So that is what we've both been playing. As far as the other game I've been playing is Ratchet & Clank. I finally had time to put more time into it, because I've really just been kind of playing it for like 30 minutes here and there. How far do you think you are? Well, it tells you percentage-wise. So when I was at 2%, because I kept going back to Xbox and playing Grounded and things like that, I finally put in some good sessions, and I'm at 43%. Dude, it's one of those games where I'm like, fuck, I hate when it takes me a while to start playing something, because I love it. I absolutely love it. My buddy Daniel came over the other day. Shout out to Daniel B. And he was looking at it because he hasn't seen a PS5 yet. And he's like, damn, dude. He's like, this game looks like awesome. I've never seen anything like it. And I was playing through levels. The battle is fantastic. The action is funny. The dialogue is funny. The story, as goofy as it is still kind of, meaningful if you're a big Ratchet and Clank fan. And I've never played the old ones on like PS2. And I haven't played the one. It's been a while. I haven't played the PS4 one in a while. I completely forgot that the guy that does Ratchet's voice is Titus, because I can hear him talk, and I'm like, why do I know that voice? And I kept hearing him talking to Yuna, and I yelled at her. I kept hearing like that voice, and I looked at it, and I'm like, sure enough, it's him. So who do you like more, Ratchet or Rivet?
Dude, they did a good job with Rivet, and I'm trying to think of the other like Clank's name. Because there's another robot that he kind of gets, and I like
his
both
name
of those
is a lot
characters.
different than Clank's. I don't know.
Well, it's a girl, so it's Rivet and appears up with Clank, and then Ratchet gets this girl kind of robot who's badass. So if you've got a PS5, play it. It's fantastic. And then as far as what I'm watching is I just ran through Loki on Disney Plus.
Loved it.
I liked it, and so I was having this conversation on Discord the other day, and I was pretty buzzed talking to these guys, but I'm like, they always said that when you watch the movies, like you shouldn't have to watch the shows to understand what's going to happen in the next movie. And since then we've had WandaVision, Loki, and Winter Soldier and Falcon. And it's already a lot for someone to follow this MCU timeline that's required to watch 15 movies or so to know what's going to happen in the next one. I remember Kevin Feige saying you shouldn't have to watch the shows to do that, but it's going to be fun and you'll know more. After watching Loki, I don't know how you couldn't watch Loki without understanding what's going to be happening in the next madness. And then the same goes for WandaVision.
I thought the same thing with WandaVision.
I can let Falcon and Winter Soldier go because at the end of it, you see him give him the shield. So after watching Loki, I'm like,
spoilers.
Yeah, well, watch the movies. After I saw Loki, I was like, damn, I don't know how you couldn't. So I don't know. Loki was really fun. And then to stay on the MCU timeline, I just saw Black Widow on July 9th. And I got to say, it's probably the most boring and slow MCU movie I've seen out of all of them. I don't know. Have you had a chance to see it yet?
No, because I didn't want to pay for like extra on the Disney Plus or whatever. I was like, I'll wait till that comes out. I could tell that movie. I'm not like dying for her.
It's so repetitive and so kind of like not important because it's a movie that's taking place before the last movie. So you're kind of sitting there going, well, I already know all this and none of this really like I don't care enough about it. But I wanted to bring it up because Andrew and I, this story popped up that Scarlett Johansson is now suing Disney Plus.
She should.
Because they breached her contract by showing it simultaneously on Disney Plus and in theatrical release.
For it, yeah.
Because in her contract, she loses bonuses if it doesn't hit a certain amount on theater. And it was never supposed to be released on Disney Plus. So she's in a whole big thing with them. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think she's completely entitled or a little wacky?
No, I think that's for sure fair, especially if you base someone's contract around that. Because I think they said too, she even tried like reaching out to them like a few times to try to discuss like, hey, how's this going to affect whatever. So if she's losing money because of a decision they made, then yeah, that's kind of really on them. But unless it wasn't in there in the first place, right. In which case then, I mean, that's kind of on her. But it actually just dropped today that Emma Stone also was in talks now too to see if she should sue for Cruella.
Yeah, because we're in that weird time where these movies are stuck in a place where it's like, do we launch them here?
But I think Cruella was day and date, not like a paid Disney
premium.
Yeah, because you had to pay for premium for Black Widow, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I saw it in theaters, so I went and saw it in theaters.
I thought so. That's why I haven't watched it yet, because I thought you had to pay for premium. So.
Yeah, I think she's completely right to do so. She should be suing them because it's not like a big lawsuit. This is happening all the time because people aren't knowing how to balance the theatrical release with the streaming. So I think she's completely justified, but on the other note, that movie was boring, and I thought it was extremely lame. The only good part of it was David Harbour as the dad, and I don't know the girl, Florence Rue as the sister. Like, they're the best part, and it's like, that's not really saying much.
Hey, if you want to know more, wait for our video talk show.
Well, hey, that was a lot of good stuff to catch up to, because now we're going to dive into our main big story, which is the fact that... This kid's always chiming in. Halo Infinite tech preview is now out. This was a preview that's running from July 29th, which was yesterday, to August 1st. And it was a special Halo Insider invitation that was received, and you got that by signing up before a certain date. And then they were going to send you emails through the Halo Waypoint, which was going to give you access codes to start playing it. Now, because I signed up for it, we got it, we've been playing it, and I got to say, the whole process was kind of dog shit. Like, none of it really...
Super confusing.
Yeah, none of it really made sense. I was following people on Twitter and in like Facebook groups. Everyone's like asking, well, how exactly does this work? When does this code work? Because when it started out, which was yesterday, because we didn't start playing it till today, because I was playing the Ascent yesterday.
I heard you couldn't even play it yesterday.
Yeah, so I'm going to read this quick article, because this is kind of the problems that it was having, and it goes a little something like this. Halo insiders all over the world geared up this morning, which was yesterday, for the long-awaited first technical preview of Halo Infinite, only to be met by long hours of wait with a crashed Halo waypoint and an empty email inbox. The preview was promised to launch on July 29th around 12 p.m. The problem is, in order to download the early build of the game, the players had to get their codes either on the Halo Waypoint website or through an email. The website crashed around the time the preview was set to start, and the emails were nowhere to be found. So even the next day when I woke up and started looking for all this stuff, it was very confusing on where to find it, how to find it. And a lot of this stuff, it doesn't really just tell you, because everyone says, you keep waiting for this code, keep waiting for this code. Really, all you had to do is once you signed in, it linked your accounts. Then you had to go to the Xbox Hub, download it if you don't, and then log into it, and then go to the previews, and then download it. But even then, when I did it, I was having issues saying my account wasn't authorized. And then I hit up Andrew, and Andrew had to do some digging, and he found me kind of like some troubleshooting steps.
Yeah, I happened to just be looking through like forums earlier, just because I usually try to, whenever something big drops like the Ascent or Halo or anything, I like to go out and kind of see what people's opinions are versus like my own and kind of how I feel about it. And I just happened to see something. I was like, oh, that's kind of shitty if you would have to do that. And sure enough, like an hour later, Craig sends me this fucking screenshot saying, dude, I'm getting this message. I'm not even allowed to fucking play the game. And I was like, oh, sure as shit. I just seen that. Here, let me go back and find this thing, and I'll screenshot it and send it to you.
Yeah, so it is unfortunate that they ran through this many bugs, but like they're saying in like every post, it's a tech preview. This is what's going to happen. We're trying to, let's see what the overload is. Let's see what the bugs are, because this is stuff we're going to have to figure out, and, here's what's going to happen. But eventually, we did get it playing, and I got to say, overall, really good stuff. But before we dive into the gameplay, I just kind of want to go quickly over what all you're able to see in this tech preview to kind of see what's going to be coming.
Limited, yeah.
So what you have access to when you start watching this thing is pretty much three main tabs. That says Play, Customize, and Shop. So the Customize tab is going to be where you find the Armor Hall, which is where you're going to be able to customize your look with pieces that you're going to start earning from like challenges met through the season pass and things like that, as well as the weapon bench. So you can start unlocking skins and the way you want certain things to look and different pieces. The vehicle bay, which in this tech preview shows off 7 different vehicles. And I gotta say, they all look pretty nice. They all look like good Halo vehicles. And the one that caught my eye was like that Gun Goose, which was like that quad that had like the 2 guns sitting on it, and then the back seat. So, and there you can start customizing those as well. And then it goes into the body AI, where you're able to give your AI color and shape. So it's going to be what's talking to you, which is kind of odd, because instead of like your Cortana just popping up as like a little digital AI, it's like kind of like this gooey looking ball that you can go to like a triangle or a square, a circle, and then you can give it colors like bright pink and green. So that was where you can get that. And then it had this part that has like these prosthesis like add-on, like for robotic parts for like your arms and your hands and your legs. So for those that maybe are missing something like that, it kind of gives you a better feel than making like a custom Spartan, which I thought was cool. And then the last one was the presentation, which was locked, which is going to have access to your emblems, your announcer voice, your service tags, etc. So overall, what'd you think of how the guns looked and the weapons and just kind of what the ability to customize and all that stuff? I mean, pretty standard stuff, right?
Yeah, it seemed like there's kind of a lot of options, but I mean, there was a lot in 5 from what I can. It's been a while since I played 5 actually, so I felt like there was just as much there, but it seemed like maybe there's a bit more as far as like you can choose what color wear. I mean, they were already saying their big thing kind of is with the prosthetics, but you can actually go through on there and actually buy the seat. But it starts you off with a certain amount of like credits or whatever, so you can buy little things, but you can actually already purchase the season pass and go through and see what's on there and just kind of unlock whatever. So I thought it was actually kind of cool, and I kind of like the idea of, okay, I'm sure that would take a lot of power for everybody to have their own little fucking Cortana versus, okay, a simple triangle, a simple whatever fucking simple buddy companion or whatever. So I didn't mind that. I thought that kind of the way that they're doing it looked right. Like, I didn't feel like you really had to mess with any of that stuff, but I was like dying to get in there and kind of switch this and mix around and fuck around with the colors and everything like that. So that's I mean that's already a plus for me.
Yeah, so like Andrew was saying, so one of the other button is shop, and that is where you can go to get the season pass. It did give us credits to already buy it, but it's also, this is where you're gonna find the bundles and like the XP packs if that's what you want to buy and spend your credits on. But the main thing that we're here to talk about is the play option, and it came with 2 different modes. One was the multiplayer and one was the academy. So The Academy, which is what looks like to be the the single player portion of it, only gives you what's called weapon drill. So there is no campaign play. It's just giving you a drill test of the 13 guns that you have access to.
I did like that.
Yeah, each of them have kind of like these challenges that you can beat. We didn't really go through them too much today. We just did the multiplayer. But after looking at it, I mean, I thought the guns looked all pretty cool. There's a lot of new weapons on there, and the challenges seem a good way to kind of, because like you were playing because you did multiplayer before you did the drill test. Some of those guns are like, oh shit. Maybe I should be a little more familiar. Like, oh, that's how that acts. So what do you think about the drill test?
I actually really liked it. It almost kind of reminded me of, do you remember Perfect Dark when you could go underground and just do whatever for all the different weapons? So I actually really liked it. There's different difficulties to it. But for anyone who's not very good at the game, you could definitely go in there and just practice and be like left alone and just sit there trying to shoot whatever, because it's like a little like digital blue person that shows up and you're just trying to hit all the like marks within a time limit. So I actually really like that it has an option in there to practice, because yeah, like you said, there was one gun, actually I wrote it down, the BK78 Commando. It's like a heavier machine gun. I grabbed that first during multiplayer and I started running at an enemy to shoot. I wasn't expecting it to like kick as much as it did. So I started shooting. I was like that at first. I was like, oh shit, okay, never mind. This gun's not shooting as fast as I thought it would. It's one of the, it's like pop, 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 like a heavier hitter. So I think if, especially if you're working for what could work at range, because they had this other weird, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like a fucking rocket launcher, but it doesn't shoot a rocket. It's almost like
a skewer.
It's like a large skewer,
it's like a harpoon
like that.
Fucking gun.
So if you're trying to like work with range and what damage and like how far that thing will travel or whatever, I think that's going to be a really good spot to like judge that sort of thing. Or even if you're having a shotgun, like, okay, I know I do this much damage at this length with this spray without having to affect my KD by jumping into like a regular match.
Yeah, I thought it was a good place to, like Andrew's saying, look and learn and like be familiar with some of the old ones, like the carbine. I thought feels really good in this game. I was playing around with that. It kind of has like that nice 3-round burst that's going on, and then you get a nice chance to look at some of the new weapons. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about the multiplayer, which is pretty much what everyone has been looking forward to. So the mode on this thing is called the ODST Bot Slayer, and what you realize quickly is that it's 4 players. So if I go in there, it's going to be 4 live players versus 4 bots. Now, there's options to view, which are the maps and modes, and from what you can look at from the 2 Slayer options, the 2 maps that they're showing off is Live Fire and Recharge. Now, when I was online looking up like kind of reviews and other gameplay, all I found was Recharge. So maybe that was yesterday's map. Today, when Andrew and I were playing, all we played on was Live Fire. So what do you think about that map layout?
I like the map layout. Like, it felt good. It felt right for something small. That map kind of struck me as more as like a 2v2 map, though.
Yeah, definitely.
If that's something that they're going to keep for sure in the game, you couldn't have 8 normal fucking people going at it, because that map is kind of like smaller. That's built for something versus bots. But that would be a good like 2v2 map. Yeah. I like the design of it, though. Like, it had that formulaic feel, like, okay, here's the lanes you could take, but here's also, if you're a pro jumper, you could get up to whatever, and all the different cross points and stuff. Excuse me.
Ooh, my baby.
I got like the beer stuck in my throat. But I thought it was like designed very well.
Yeah, I liked that it had, and a lot of the guns now, instead of just being dropped on the floor in terms of a pickup, at least for this particular level, because we didn't get to play the other one, they're all kind of locked against the wall in this particular map. So it's running up, finding it. The power-ups I thought were interesting too, because it'll, your AI tells you when things are going to respawn, and in that one spot where that, on the far right, if you're starting on the backside, is it'll tell you that the overshield's coming, and then invisibility. So the drop point seemed to be random. It wasn't a fixed location of like, okay, this is always going to be where the invisibility is, and that kind of kept moving around. And it kind of seemed the same way for the guns. One map I'd see the big gun. The other one I'd see something else like the
BR or something.
The Bulldog shotgun. So as far as the map layout goes, I thought it was really well. Like Andrew's saying, it seems like it'd be better as a 2v2. We didn't get to play the other one, so there's not much to say on that. If you want to find videos, IGN does a good review showing off one. I'm assuming maybe tomorrow all the maps will be there for the weekend. But in terms of mechanics, Andrew, you're a much bigger online shooter player than I am. How did this stack up against other Halos or even other things in that genre?
I'll get this out of the way right now. Like, I know a lot of people don't like 5. I'm actually a big fan of 5. Like, I thought that there's some things I don't like about it, and I think that they really kind of found a perfect blend here. I feel like this is a good mixture. of 3 and 5. The movement is solid, fast, fluid. You still have the clamber, especially if you can't make that pro. And there's still spots where you have to do a pro jump, so you have to be seasoned to make that. You have to know how the game works in order to do something like that, where it's not just, oh, anybody can pick up the control and do whatever. As long as you know how to play, you can do whatever. But they've also taken away some of those things that were a little bit annoying. Like if you're sprinting is still here, but you can't sprint into somebody and then bull rush charge them and knock them back and try and shoot them. It doesn't have the thruster pound anymore either. And I found those two things kind of be a little bit more infuriating. I think the one big thing that I didn't like that I kind of noticed, and I hope they switch, is if you're shooting, and I noticed this because I'm running, is in Halo 5, if you were getting shot at and your shield was damaged and you went to run, your shield would stay damaged. You would have to stop and be your like normal like cruising pace before it would go back up. On this, even if I'm running, my shield is still recharging. So it's kind of defeats almost that fight or flight purpose, because now it pays for you just to run off. There's no danger because, especially if you're in a hidden area, no one's going to shoot you. Whereas I could be chasing you down, and you know the guy's chasing you down. And if I catch up to you, you're kind of screwed. So I kind of don't like that, because I hate nothing more than shooting somebody and then they're just bailing out. And even if I'm chasing them, then they can turn on me because now their health is full. That's, stupid.
Yeah, I really like how, like Andrew's saying, like they took out everything that I never really liked about Halo. I never cared for like the jumping thrusters or the big bull charges. Like I like old school type of Halo. Just give me new mechanics and upgraded like weaponry. And I got to say, every weapon, at least that I was able to get my hands on, feels really good. The shooting is on. And when you go into like the settings in terms of like the customization, whether it be your layout, your audio, there's a ton of options in this thing. It's not just like, oh, here's your audio, here's your sensitivity, here's this. It's like every one of these things seem to have like 20 different things that you can go into. So I feel like Halo's really taking a notice in terms of like, okay, we got to be, that was a big boy. We really got to be able to be customized for everybody and focus on there's a whole tab in there for mouse and keyboard, because
there's a tab for accessibility.
Yeah, they're completely going into this thing and letting everybody be able to play, across every platform that's going to be playable on. But I got to say, man, the moment we started playing it, there's not much to complain about outside of, the crashes that it's having, and outside of, Andrew was playing a game doing really well and the whole thing just bricked on him and we had to close out. A lot of the times it's not connecting to servers, but I can't compare that to what I think the game's going to be like. When the game runs smooth and we're going game after game after game and getting challenges, I was back in high school, man. I'm literally playing this thing going, dude, this is good, fantastic. Yeah. I can't wait to play this with Kylie Johnson, with Gino, with Dante, with Denny, with you.
Do you have any dislikes?
Outside of, my biggest dislike, I guess I would be that the tech demo doesn't let you play more than one. Well, originally we thought it was just the one map. I'm kind of glad now that it's two. I don't know if I can really say anything outside of just the stability of it crashing consistently. I wish there was something more than just Slayer, and I wish maybe by the end of this, maybe by like the first when it ends, you can go PvP and not just go against bots. So, because I know a lot of people are having an issue with that. They're like, yeah, everyone's getting good scores and you're doing good runs, but it's like you're just playing a bot with some AI, and a lot of people are already pointing out that even the bots are kind of having issues and like being janky and things like that. So I don't know, but is that a dislike or just kind of like I wish they would have done something different? Because I'm still having fun playing it.
Yeah, no. I for sure have one gripe, and then I wrote one down that I know that you for sure have. My gripe is... Oh, did I forget something? Yeah, that... So when you're using your AI, the default AI voice sounds like a Ninja Turtle.
Oh,
so like you'll be doing whatever, and it'll be like, a shield in 20 seconds.
New shield coming in 20 seconds.
It's just like over the top, whatever. That I'm like, fuck,
who are you?
I cannot wait to change out of that. That default one, I did not like it. It felt like it was an old school Ninja Turtle time. Enemy on your left, bud.
Yeah, hey, brother.
But Craig brought it to my attention.
Oh, what I miss?
And I kind of noticed it after a while too, that when you're doing really good, and let's say you're killing it, you're fucking slaying it, it doesn't feel as good as it used to, because the emblems seem like they're a lot smaller now. So when you're getting a double kill, running riot, so when you're used to having that grand not take up the whole screen, but be a lot bigger. Double kill, running riot, you know, whatever, killtrocity. You know, you get your emblem and it feel like it was a lot more grand because it was a little bit louder and the emblem was a little bit bigger. Where here, I feel like the guy still says it, but it was a little lower than what I wanted that to be.
Yeah.
But also that emblem was kind of like a lot smaller and like came and went. I felt like a little bit quicker than what the old ones did. And I felt like that's what really made it grand when you're getting that, you know, like Killtacular, whatever, Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Especially when you get like 6 things back to back, and I love hearing that. And I'm like, dude, I'm fucking people up right now.
Because I was playing it and I'm like, okay, cool. And I got some double kills. I'm like, did I not hear it or did I miss it? Because it pops up very subtly in the middle. And I guess if you would
miss it if you weren't looking for it.
If you're just trying to stay focused and play the game, it definitely takes less real estate now. But the moment when Andrew was over here, I was like, tell me if I'm freaking out. Like, do you not miss like that double kill, like loud double kill that like shoves it in your face, and then if you get a triple kill, it'll pop up. It's really just kind of like it pops up in the middle, and then it lets you know that you've got a double kill on the side. It's not as grand or as I would like it to be, and I don't know if that's something I dislike because when you're playing,
it's a gripe.
Because once you start playing, you know, it's forgettable. But that was the first thing I noticed was like, well, how come we didn't say? How come we didn't tell everybody that I just got a double kill? How come we didn't tell anybody I got a double kill?
I hope that is something that they changed, because that is something that I was attributed to, like making, like even when you do get a double kill, that's something common anyone can get, but it makes you feel grander than what you really were doing. You know?
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Larger than life, even.
Larger than life. And today I actually started streaming it, my first stream ever. So we are going to be doing it this whole weekend while this is running. So yeah, so the Twitch will be LastCallGaming 928. That's where you're going to find us playing Halo Infinite. And I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. So I see us getting, and they have a lot of like weekend events. You know, get to level 15, get to level, you know, I think 18 or 19 might have been the cap.
I hope it lets me in because you're in, because
stuff.
I'm definitely gonna try it when I get home.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, Andrew, what do you think? You think we're in good hands? Are you glad that it took the year wait to keep going on this? Are you seeing a better improvement? I mean, to me, everything feels right. And and this thing's coming in November or so, I think it's gonna be great.
My hype was already through the roof, and this kind of satiated it just a little bit. Even though, like, I hate bots. Like, I understand that they're there for people to, like, I appreciate when you have a game mode, like, okay, I'm not a good person. I could go in and play against bots and have fun and do whatever. I don't like doing that. I like testing my mettle and getting in there and seeing, you know, that I'm better than you, you're better than me. So I've never wanted to keep playing something more against bots that I don't give a fuck about with the one map we were playing on anything before. So that should say something. Like, I still want to go back and play more. And again, it's just on this one small map, Slayer, first one to 50, where I like doing everything else. Just for how basic that is, I still am dying to play it. That I would be playing it all fucking weekend because I can't get enough. It feels good.
Yeah, so I think overall, I think they're sitting on something good here. I think the tech preview was a good idea, just so they can kind of gauge what's going to happen. As far as the bot thing goes, I don't know if that might have been the right move, but I think they're using that technology and that information to do other things within the game.
I think it says that they were setting that up so that way, because I think they are going to have a bot mode later on down the road. So this was helping them test, okay, this bot's working this way, whatever. So that way you're just not getting fucking blown out by them too. So,
so overall, man, the game's clean. The game's crispy when it runs. The guns feel nice. It seems like once the customization gets going, it doesn't seem like the season pass is going to be too obnoxious. It seems like you can earn in-game credits to pay for any cosmetic upgrades that you want. Overall, man, I think this is cool, and you know, we got a couple more days to play it, and hopefully by the time our next episode on 100, when we talk about what we've been playing, we maybe will have more to say about it, you know, whether that be positive or negative. But I don't know. I haven't been excited for a Halo game in a long fucking time. And the moment you play it and you hear that music and you get to jump in and start playing, you're like, dude, this is what I miss.
It feels good.
And this is why, you know, to me, Halo is king. So leave you guys' comments down below. If you got access to the Halo Waypoint, if you got the invitation, you know, jump in the comments. Let us know how you've been playing it, what you thought. Or if you've been watching reviews or maybe some of the gameplay we've been doing, let us know what you think of how it looks, and if you think this game is ready to come out in November, or does it look maybe a little undercooked and still needs time.
I don't know, that donut looked pretty cooked to me earlier, and it said it's coming out in November.
That leaked Mexican Twitter release date.
There was a leak earlier, and it was like a Mexican donut or something like that had Master Chief on it, and it said something in Spanish about play it this November, which sounds right.
Yeah, it's like, why wait for November? Because I think that you can get the donut early, so it's like, you can get the donut now, so I love a good leak. But we'll leave that review for another time, and we'll get into a quick riffing it up. So the first thing I want to bring up, guys, and if we weren't talking about Halo for as long as we have, to me this is a big fucking news. There is a new, brand new video game studio that's being created by veterans from multiple studios, from the past, and from PlayStation, from the Call of Duty teams, Last of Us teams. And what their goal to do is make story-driven, single-player gaming experiences. And
sounds great.
For me, it's fantastic. For a guy that's the type of game I like to play, this sounds really cool. And you see the kind of talent that's behind it. For me, I get excited. So I'll just read a quick little article, and this is from Polygon, explaining kind of what they're up to and why they're kind of coming into play and why now they're deciding to be developed. So it starts like this. A team of veteran game developers who previously worked at a variety of companies, including Infinity Ward and Naughty Dog, announced the creation of That's No Moon, a new independent development studio on Wednesday. The studio will be focused on making single-player games, starting out with something in the action-adventure genre, which shouldn't come as a surprise considering that the studio's team includes developers from franchises like Uncharted and The Last of Us. That's No Moon is also partnering with Smilegate, the studio behind the multiplayer Crossfire franchise, which provided $100 million for its startup and its first project. Now, this is according to the CEO from No Moon. He's the former senior director of visual arts for Sony. The studio is well aware that the trend in gaming right now is multiplayer, but he thinks that there's still plenty of room for great single-player experiences. The article's pretty big, and I definitely have it linked in the description. But, I mean, for me, this is extremely exciting news, knowing that there's
I love single-player games.
Yeah, big talent, and, big personalities from these studios across the board. Some of them are from like Santa Monica, some of them are Infinity Ward, some of them are Naughty Dogs, and it's this group of guys and gals coming together and literally, I love the kind of the statement. We're here to make single player experiences, not pull a Ubisoft down the line and go, let's turn Assassin's Creed into an online component. These guys are going, there are so many people in the multiplayer space, like, let's keep giving people, like, it sucks that there's only a few God of Wars, Horizon Zero Dawns, Uncharted, these big games that are literally single player, but then there's 1,000 multiplayers every week that drop. So, I mean, whether or not any of their games are going to be good is, yet to be seen. But the fact that there's somebody coming out strong saying, hey, our whole goal is to make good action, single player, and the first one is going to be action adventure. For me, I'm just like, dude,
I'm all for it.
This might be my new favorite studio. I don't. What did you? Anything rub you the right way or the wrong way with this group of individuals?
No, I'm hopeful for it. Like, I'm definitely all for big single story. Like, I just love a good story. I hate when you get like a game that's, might be good, have good online like Call of Duty, and then the story is like half-assed. Like Cold War, I didn't really kind of care for it. I think they did it right with 2019's Modern Warfare. I thought that one was really good, but before that, I kind of never really cared for the stories. I just beat them for the achievements, just say that I had, give it a try, but it's mostly for the multiplayer that I get the game, because that's what everyone else is playing.
I just want to read real quick, just see if anyone's familiar with the talent, if I name any names. This is kind of who's going to be behind this. So far, the team includes Jacob Minkoff, the studio's chief design officer and game director on its first project, who previously worked with Kurosaki at both Infinity Ward and Naughty Dog. The studio also includes Nick Kononilos, which is the COO, former senior development director at EA, and Tina Kowalewski, former director of product development at Sony Santa Monica, as chief strategy officer, and many similar veteran developers. So there's a big group of people here, man, and I don't know, for me, this is just great news. The fact that we can still get new studios that have a particular goal in mind, instead of these studios that kind of pop up and want to jump into, the MMO space, which is kind of flooded. It wants to jump into, take a bite out of like Fortnite and Warzone's pie. It's like no one's doing these big kind of, dramatic single-player games, and for me, that's always going to be a plus.
Yeah,
So.
I'm up for it.
So I'm really interested to see where this goes. But Andrew, what are you riffing on, my man?
My riff is actually going to be Jason Schreier put up an article on Bloomberg, but was also saying that he had heard the rumor from Jeff. Another rumor had been shared by Jeff Grubb. For those of you that don't know, Jason Schreier is a big journalist within games media, talks to like a lot of insiders, had a lot of inside contacts, saying that, and again, this has not been confirmed by Sony, but from what they're saying and from what I've been saying, is that Horizon Forbidden West has been delayed to 2022. Now, I've been telling Craig, and I've been having this discussion for a while now, that I think that game is going to slip and is going to get delayed, because even when we got that last presentation, and I said for sure 2021, it wasn't really anything different, anything new. It was just a small vertical playable slice. It didn't really show too much, and we have not heard anything since. Sony hasn't announced any other sort of events. Tomorrow's going to be August 1st. We're already in August. Where does that leave you for pre-orders, marketing, whatever? Are you going to have the event the day before the game fucking comes out? So, I mean, we're kind of at that spot now where, if they had something to say, they would have said it. And so I think that this game is going to slip to 2022. I've been saying that for a while now. But he did put out a report saying that that's what he's been hearing from the inside. So, on top of that, I don't, that means Sony doesn't really have any big fall 2022 games, whereas Microsoft just, even though it's a part-time exclusive, just dropped the Ascent, and then they still have Halo coming out. So, who knows with that unopposed, especially provided, hopefully, as much as I love Halo for the multiplayer, I love the story even more when it's good. I hope that this story is amazing and that it had the time that it needed to cook and really get out there, that could be, help it. All right, you got nothing else to go up against. You're still in all the fucking thunder. Bring home all the awards, like, whatever.
Well, tomorrow's the 31st, not the 1st. So there is one more day.
Oh, my God. Oh, you know what? You're right.
I already said that. I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure there's a 31 in this month. But, yeah.
Well, they don't know what day we're recording, and now you made me look stupid.
Well, no, because I already said yesterday was the 29th. So, I mean, we're already placing a timeline here. So, now we're making holes in this. But
what's this contact, Haze?
I will say that it's extremely unfortunate to hear this because, if and when Horizon seems to move to 2022, then I mean, the definite answer is that God of War Ragnarok's not fucking making it at the end of this year, like they've been saying.
No, they already said that was delayed.
But that's what I'm saying. It's they keep saying these things early, and it's like, well, if this thing was never going to stand a chance, then what makes us think the thing you threw at the end of last year was going to be like, oh, this is coming? So again, I've said it way before in the past. Like, stop saying these things. Like, I get that it's marketing, and I get that you're trying to create a buzz, but it's like all you're doing is making more. I mean, everyone can always say, hey, more time's always good. I'm not going to get mad that the game took more time. But it's like, don't set us with an expectation. And it sucks because, if this game does not come out, then really the three biggest things that you can play on the PS5 is Demon's Souls, Returnal, and Ratchet and Clank. And that's definitely no reason.
Those all came out the
that's definitely no reason to buy a PS5. Where the Series X, Game Pass alone and how fast it is speaks for itself on the quality and I would say more of a reason to have that than a PS5.
I'm a believer in the 6-month PR cycle, so I think that that's kind of my sweet spot for me. Because I hate seeing a game too much, but I also don't like seeing it too little. That I think when you announce a game 6 months out, here's a hard date, here's whatever, this is when it's going to be out, and then you have whatever events in between. I think that's kind of that perfect sweet spot.
Yeah, so we'll see what they say officially, but as of right now, this thing's leaning towards first Q1 2022, so... that is the end of Riffs, guys. We've got one question from a very important person.
It's actually my question, and I wanted to provide something that I thought was maybe kind of like a little critical thinking. And I wanted to ask you, again, because we're so late in the year, as I've just been informed, tomorrow's the 31st.
Mm-hmm. Quite right.
Do you think Call of Duty will skip this year? We've heard nothing but turmoil. We don't know anything about this Call of Duty, really. The only kind of thing we've heard whispers of is that it's kind of like an alternate World War II where the war didn't end in 1945, whereas generally Call of Duty has already had its event in like April, I believe, is usually when they show off stuff. Then they show off all the multiplayer and everything else at E3. Again, we didn't have anything of that. I did have two little side notes to throw in here to that, is that Call of Duty has not missed a year since 2004. They didn't have a game come out. Call of Duty 1 came out in 2003. They skipped 2004, and then 2005 is when Call of Duty 2 came out. And that was well before that game was super popular and had any sort of multiplayer functions that they needed to worry about. But also that the last Call of Duty, even though we knew everything about Cold War beforehand, we knew when it was going to take place, we had all kinds of leaks as far as multiplayer and whatever, we had all kinds of shit going on with it well beforehand that we knew that game was coming out. I believe the first superficial reveal and trailer and everything like that came in August, which we're on the brink of August. But we had way more information about that game than we do this one.
Yeah,
Your thoughts?
I'm going to start off by saying yes, and then here's going to be, I guess, quickly why. Even though...
Let me just my question.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
Do you think they will skip this year? And on a second opinion, do you think they should?
Okay. So, should they...
Could they?
Probably.
Would they?
Should they? Probably. Would they? Are they? No. And I only... So, 2 weeks ago, there's an article saying that recently they talked to Activision and said that they're still on to go.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
But with that being said, let's look back at what we just talked about with Horizon. You know what I mean? They can say whatever the fuck they want, that it's still ready to go, and then when push comes to shove, they're going to be like, oh no, Q1. The difference is that unlike a Horizon, where it's this one team building this big game forever, and they want to get it right because they don't... No big single-player game ever wants to go through what Cyberpunk 2077 ever did, because it was just catastrophic.
I think it was, you couldn't buy it for, it was
6 months.
6 months, yeah. You weren't
months.
even able to purchase it on the PlayStation Store.
When you're looking at something like Call of Duty and Activision and all these guys, I mean, you said back, what was the year that was the first time they missed one?
2004.
How many teams did they have working on Call of Duty at that time?
I think it was just the one.
Right.
I would have to go back and look.
We've been in a new cycle where Call of Duty has 3 different teams making 3 different styles of Call of Duty. So by the time one of them is already making it, they're already making their game 2 years in advance. Which is, and unlike a Horizon Zero Dawn, they don't need 4 or 5 years to make one. Call of Duty seems to be, because when these guys start making a new game, they're not starting from scratch. When it's the same studio making the same game, right? When Treyarch does its, Infinity Ward did its.
Actually they have 4: Raven, Sledgehammer, Treyarch,
When they
Infinity
do their
Ward.
own, they're not starting from scratch. They've got bones to at least pick from and go, okay, cool. And then obviously,
here's what last year did. We can improve upon that as well.
Right, and because I think that they're codenaming this one Vanguard, is, they've just brought Sledgehammer back into the fold to help them finish it. So as much as I would think that it's not, because I think generally they come out in October. Maybe I think last year,
November.
I think Cold War was November last year, and that had pandemic problems.
November,
maybe this game comes out in December, but there's no way. Call of Duty, the number 1 selling game every year, is going to miss its annual mark, because even if it does come out bad, even if there is something wrong with it, it's not a Horizon game that's going to be Cyberpunk related and like, oh, no one buy this. Everyone's going to buy a Call of Duty, and if it has to be patched in 5-6 months, it'll be patched in 5-6 months. And I think they've had enough going for the last year or 2 or 3 that they've got enough to where they can go, all right, it's I don't want to compare it to sports. Like, it's not like Madden, 08 to 09 to 10, but those Call of Duties are kind of just rollovers of the next one, which is kind of up mechanics and gear and look, to where I think they've had this particular one ready. And it's a World War II one. They're already building off of the last World War II one, you know what I mean? So It's not like they're building something brand new. So I would think, are we nervous that we haven't seen anything from them? I think it's a cue to maybe pause and worry a tad, but it's fucking Call of Duty, and in my mind, this thing's probably already done. And right now they're just polishing it up. I don't know. Do you see it differently?
I don't think that they will skip this year.
Yeah.
When I think that they should skip this year.
I think they probably should.
I think if the game comes out, it will not be good. But they have Warzone to fall back on, and Warzone has been the big fucking juggernaut, especially with the Battle Royale. It completely took over, and that's something we didn't even think was going to have a hard time breaking in. So I think it will, just because they're greedy, but I don't think that it should. I think realistically they should just do the Assassin's Creed like what Assassin's Creed did. They kept saying, oh, we're doing whatever, it'll be out. They took a break, and then they came out with what was that one when they took the break? Odyssey was the one they came out with, and Odyssey was fucking great. I loved Odyssey. I thought Odyssey was the shit.
They waited 3 years and they did the next one, or 2.5 years, whatever it was, and it's the second best-selling Assassin's Creed of all time. So I don't know. I think it's gonna make it. If it's bad, then clearly they should have waited. But
I think it'll still be bad if it releases this year. I think it's gonna be a bad game.
Yeah, because even when Cold War came out, it had its issues, but. Nobody threw it to the fire like everyone did Cyberpunk.
I mean, bad is in the story's gonna suck.
Oh well, then if the story's gonna suck, then what they should
it's gonna be like a mediocre game. Like it'll run well because Call of Duty's run well, but it's just gonna be like a game that came and went. Like whatever that. Well, the story sucked. It was boring. Whatever.
What was one that completely eradicated the campaign?
4 Black Ops 4.
Because I mean, if that's an option, they could do that and just put out the multiplayer. But at the same, but now you're going, well, we already have Warzone, and people hated when they do that.
We have Warzone, we have Modern Warfare, we have Cold War, and now we're gonna put this out on top of that to compete with just regular multiplayer.
Well, even a lot of people think Call of Duty Ghosts is like one of the worst storylines ever, and
I thought it was alright.
I liked it too, but I think generally speaking, most people think it's the weakest,
sucks,
but it still sold a shitload. So even if this game, I mean, if history shows anything and sales show anything, then even if this game does have a bad campaign, it's still going to sell a shitload. And Activision, especially with all the shit they're in right now, isn't going to miss out on that. So
I'll buy it.
Good question, though. I actually really like that.
To let you guys know how dog shit it is, I'll play it.
Well, that's Andrew is our day one reviewer. So, guys, action-packed, information-full episode. Sorry if it went along, but I don't know. I think we covered a lot of ground and talked about a lot of stuff. So, as always, guys, leave down in the comment section if you have any questions of the week you want to ask us or any beers you want us to drink. But that is the end of episode 99. The next episode will be episode 100. We can't wait to see you there. And until next time, my name is Craig Perales, and that is Mandra Montemayor. Cheers.